Hey everyone, this is Braulio Acudia, Senior Service Learning Coordinator from the New York region. In this presentation, I'm going to discuss how you can best pitch buildOn to any audience, such as our students, parents, teachers, and other stakeholders to join our movement. When I first started with buildOn, I remember creating my own recruitment presentation and felt like there wasn't any streamlined structure on how to present our mission. My hope is that you can use this template and change it to adapt to your own programming to increase student participation. This will save you time as you can alter this presentation to any audience, but still have a high impact when presenting. This pitch presentation is heavily influenced by Seth Gordon's on Presenting to Persuade, found on Litmos. Shout outs to Litmos. Seth's view of presenting is different from our conventional way of how we use PowerPoint. Seth talks about how the presenters, like us, can leverage the attention you get as the presenter to enroll stakeholders to our journey with buildOn. People remember stories. It pulls them in, and people are sold to your idea, and this is what Seth conveys. He breaks it down into the use of storytelling in 3 parts. First, it's the story of me. Then second is the story of us. And then finally, third is the story of now. After watching this Litmos training, I was sold to his idea of his presentation into making our students learn about me, our programming, and buildOn as a whole in a very powerful way. Now I'm going to present the pitch slide by slide and explain how each one builds on into each other. By the end of the presentation, the goal is to have a call to action where our stakeholders, like our students, are tasked to joining the movement. This pitch is targeted to our freshman students. Let's start with the story of me. First, you should have a photo of you, and this could be anything from college, growing up, or with buildOn, a place that made you who you are today. For me, it was going on trek to Malawi as a high school student. It's there where I get a perspective of service and helping others, which led me into working with buildOn today. This slide introduces the story of you. Tell us who you are. Where are you from? What college did you attend? This helps the audience get a better picture of who you are. Tell your story to grab the audience attention so when you're recruiting in the hallways or going into the classroom in the future, you're not a stranger. They know who you are. One last question to respond on this slide is, why do you work for buildOn? Respond to this question last because it leads to the next slide about the story of us, the story of buildOn. This is the chance to introduce who we are, the story of us. And we can't introduce buildOn until we talk about our mission. As you know, our mission is to break the cycle of poverty, illiteracy, and low expectations through service and education. But what does that mission mean to you? This is your chance to expand on the mission and explain it to our students. I would explain it as, quote, for me, it means we work with students to create a difference. In the communities we live, there are a lack of resources, and it's up to us, you all, to help out in our community. Here in the US, every year we go into local soup kitchens to feed our community, beautify parks and gardens, and tutor children, to name a few. We are the ones that are shaping to make a better home we live in. Abroad, we go to certain countries to help build schools, to uplift our communities through education, end quote. I will end with that explanation of the buildOn mission and go on to the next slide to show a video about buildOn. Here's a video I found on YouTube that gives a good balance on what is buildOn for our students. In the clip, we see students working at our partner countries, but heavily references how buildOn helped them to be empowered back home through service. Just for the sake of time and purpose, I would mention Trek as something that our Trek students will present later in the year. This could help our Trek students get their bringing it home points. I pulled student quotes from the clip that is presented on the next slide. These quotes are powerful, and I suggest giving students about a minute to read them and reflect. This is a great moment to let our students participate by asking, what stuck out to you in the video? Have about 3 or 4 students respond to the entire class. So as we continue into the story of us, we want to go into our school successes. This is the part when you transition from big picture of what buildOn is to your school's programming. As for photos, I would recommend having 2 to 3 of your most impactful service projects that really shows that wow moment. I think if you put too much photos, students will focus on more of the photos than you talking. For me, I chose photos. I chose these photos because first, the dog looks cute, but also it shows the sense of community from our buildOn staff members with our students. As you see Kelsey Dunshee on the left and Brett Brown on the right, working with our students. This is the time to really brag about your programming. Talk about the biggest projects of the year. Discuss the citywide events and how it draws in hundreds of buildOn students for a day of service. You should be excited and thrilled as you're selling the program to the students. You should ask this question, want to be part of this movement? This is what we do. Another section about the story of us is how we celebrate our students. Show some photos of bonding events that is outside of service. We always like to recognize and give thanks to our students' hard work and dedication to the community. Here in New York, we are very fortunate to get free tickets to sporting events and musicals. How do you celebrate your students' success? This could draw them in and entice them to know that we care and appreciate them as powerful young leaders. Lastly, on the story of us, you want to talk about our student, of course, and our student success. As you could tell, we are going from bigger global movement of buildOn to our local community till now, our students. This could be most relatable to our students because they will see someone they know up on the slide. On this slide, you want to highlight one buildOn student on how buildOn elevated their life. This doesn't need to be a story that they were saved or students that are from the streets or anything dramatic. It could be why did the student join buildOn? What did they learn? What are they doing post-high school? Here's my student, Amber, who recently graduated from high school. Amber joined because she recently moved from Puerto Rico and found new friends with them buildOn at Mount Hall. Throughout her years doing service, she has found that she loved projects working with animals. Now, she's going to school to become a veterinarian. Again, you don't need to find a sob story. You can use anything that you think is powerful enough for our students to know how buildOn can help them. Now we're going to switch to the last part of storytelling, which is the story of now. By the time we reach this slide, your students has a better idea of you and what buildOn is in a global, community, and school sense. We are shifting to the story of now, which is the call to action. This is the part where you bring it home and show how they can benefit and be part of a movement, a change agent. On these last slides, we're inviting the students to come out and make a difference. But first, let's talk about how buildOn can benefit them. Briefly discuss the direct benefits of joining the program. Some include meeting new friends and how it looks good on your resume or college application. These are benefits I found over the years, but if you know more or something different, please use them. As we continue to the story of now, we want to have a call to action. So that means really talking about what issues we're facing in our community. This has to be my favorite action shot. Here is my student, Cameron, in the midst of giving out a sandwich he made earlier to a homeless man. What action shot do you have of your students? I ask because we need these photos, not for the presentations, but to serve as memories for our students to show that they make a difference in our community. On this slide, you want students to start talking, move around, and discuss what issues they see in their immediate community. Have students get up and pair and talk about what issues they see. Some students can share out. This is a perfect chance to get a pulse of what possible future projects students may want to be in, but also discuss further on how buildOn is combating certain issues a student may talk about. If a student may talk about hunger, like I see a lot of homeless people, then you could talk more about, hey, every Saturday we make sandwiches and we go down to Times Square. So it really kind of relates to them and show that what they care about, that we want their voice and their input. So again, the call to action is really letting our students, freshman students know that we are a community, we're a movement, we're a group, and we want them to be part of the family. The last slide is more informational. This is the time to give out details about future service projects, program meetings, location of your office. One thing I got from Anthony Curtis, our partnership director, is having students add you on social media. Of course, speak with the teacher beforehand, but let students pull out their phones to add you on social media. This helps you later as you post future projects and also have students see the great things your program is doing on a weekly basis. Lastly, have a group photo of your students to convey that they could be part of the family too. So that concludes my presentation. I know it may seem long, but you can tailor it to be 15 minutes or a full 30 to 40 minutes long. You can expand on certain aspects or choose to briefly talk about certain things. As you can tell, there are hardly any bullet points, numbers, or words. These are photos that convey stories. I highly, highly encourage watching Seb Gordon presenting to Per Se, found in Litmos. Seb breaks down the power of stories, but also gives helpful tips on how to present. You can find my pitch template linked to the blog post. You can make a copy, edit it, and add it to your own drive. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, comments, or how this pitch can be improved, please reach out to Betsy Grace, our service learning specialist. Good luck.